We'll
It
start
does
here
help.
because it's pretty obvious we like the type of week we're in right now in terms of like Indiana football, Big Ten football. It's an extremely slow news week. Now, that doesn't mean that we have nothing to talk about. I promise there's plenty to talk about on this show. But in terms of what was being circulated nationally, the biggest thing was people freaking out about Indiana's schedule, which was literally reported over 2 weeks ago. It's something we've covered on this show for 2 straight weeks. That got blown up today for whatever reason. The fact that you have this contingent of people who continue to tell you Indiana football is irrelevant and they don't matter, and then you put up a graphic of their non-conference schedule in 2 years, which is subject to change, and everybody just starts freaking out. So I guess we'll start there, Brad.
I mean, it really got blown up because I think the report that we're paying $500,000 to Virginia to not play them. I'll be honest, not a great look.
I mean, that's significantly less than that was less than I thought it was going to be.
I want to preface this. I tweeted earlier that I don't care who we beat by 40 in the non-con. I stand by that. I don't care at the end of the day. I will say, pulling away from Virginia is not necessarily something that I'm like happy about. Like, I'm not like, oh, that's a good thing. I think it's better to, prepare with bottom tier ACC and Big 12 teams moving forward. I think it's a really good idea to get us prepped for the Big 10 slate rather than playing a Kennesaw State or an Indiana State. I will say Old Dominion, I was watching some tape on them. I think they're going to be a good test. However, that's like week 1, right? So that could be, that's a team that lost to South Carolina week 1 last year by only 4 points on the road. And South Carolina turned out to be pretty good that season as well. And they didn't even have the guy who ended up being the starting quarterback toward the end of the year start that game. It was Grant Wilson in that one. And then Colton Joseph, who I was watching the film on, very high on, by the way, will definitely pose some problems as a true dual threat quarterback. 1,600 passing yards, 600 rushing yards last year. It's never a good thing to avoid as much, good competition early as you can, but it also makes sense in the sense that, like, hey, I don't want to risk our playoff chances with a Bama or a Texas early in the year. I really don't think we're there yet, to be honest. And that doesn't mean that we're not a rising power in college football. I just think we still need to build momentum to get to where we want to be. And that's kind of where this comes from. With that being said, I think we could have beaten Virginia. I don't know why we're moving away from them. And, stacking days, stacking weeks, stacking months. Obviously, these things take time, but I think we're a little bit past Virginia at this point in time. And would have been cool to, have a kind of a more exciting game. Because, like, not going to lie, like, I watch every game, obviously, and it's a lot easier to get hyped up for a Virginia game than it is, going to be, Indiana State or Kennesaw State later this year.
I don't know. It's two teams you're going to beat by multiple touchdowns. At the end of the day, like, I trust what this football program is doing. I also trust the fact that at some point in the near future, and like especially before 2030 or 2031, when that Notre Dame non-con is, that they're just going to, like, the networks are going to come calling and the money is going to be there. And at a certain point, like, you're not going to be able to say no to those games. And there was a couple of Purdue fans. It's funny to listen to the Purdue fans talk about Indiana football. Like, we gonna take anything they say, but like, it doesn't hurt Indiana in recruiting, the fact that they're going to be able to win all these games, but like, it would be a nice, like, recruiting piece if you're able to not only be competitive in those types of non-con games and win them. And like you said, and this is something that I've said for months, I said this on Mark Rogers' show, I've said this on our show, like, Indiana is in a really great place, but if you look at their like roster depth and the age of their roster and the age of their starters compared to the depth, it's like those are, like, you worry about roster attrition versus like a team like Ohio State, a team like Georgia, who's just been able to recruit at such a high level for so long that their 3s and 4s would start at most places in the country. So it's like you're less worried about an injury there versus like an injury to Indiana. That being said, we're well on our way to being one of those schools that's just like, you supplement through the portal what you need, and you really don't have to like get a majority of your roster from there. But I don't know, man. Like to be like Indiana is irrelevant and doesn't matter, and then to have this much commotion and fuss about their non-con schedule in 2027 and beyond is just it's you're speaking out of both sides of your mouth. It's crazy. So
And I
it's
think
I laugh.
I think you nailed on the head in terms of like what I meant by we're not there yet. Like that roster attrition piece, right? Like we're not reloading with 5 stars every year. There's a chance that we might go youth movement next year just with the amount of guys we brought in over the past 3 recruiting cycles with Signetti, that he might stick it out with those guys and might not bring in as many transfers next year and might go a little younger. I'm just, that's all hearsay for me, but that is what could happen next year. And I could totally see kind of where they're coming from in terms of, you know, architecting the schedule in a way to where they get 3 true cupcake tune-ups before they go into Big Ten play, which is probably something that they need because I think confidence is key. You drop one of those early games, you're at risk of, I always use the Florida State example last year, lost that week 1 game to Georgia Tech and really just couldn't really, because they came in with very high hopes. They lose that week 1 game. It kind of just deflates everything that they were doing all off season and just kind of becomes a cloud over your head as you go through the season. So just starting out hot, I think, is important. And yeah, and like on the flip side, like if we were to schedule Texas or something like that and we lose that one, I don't think that's as big of a deal. But it's not like we're running away scared thinking that we're going to lose to Virginia. It's more so we want to ensure that we're beating the piss out of some teams before we get, you know, that Big Ten slate, which a lot of people don't realize is the toughest in-conference slate in the country. Doing that 9-game gauntlet in the Big Ten now with probably the best coaches of any conference in the country, top to bottom. I mean, we're talking at the bottom, we're talking Deshaun Foster, Mike Loxley, who I'm very high on both those guys. And yeah, I deal with those guys week in and week out on top of all the big dogs that are already in it. So yeah, it's really not, I think people are overblowing it. And that just comes with you being relevant, right? People get upset that we're maybe dodging Virginia. I was getting shit in my group chat today. Some SEC folks telling me that we're running scared. And I'm like, I don't care. We would beat Virginia by 40. Like, use your brain. Like, we're not worried about losing.
So many people complain about things that happen off the football field when there is literally Kurt Signetti Indiana tape that says the contrary. But the other thing I want to throw at you, Brad, is along the lines of like the schedule is not set in stone. Like we literally just watched them buy out Virginia. Who's to say they're not going to add somebody in the near future? I'm not saying that's going to happen, but like they literally just bought somebody out so they can add somebody in the future. The playoff is inevitably going to expand. It's inevitable. And if you really think about it, like your margin for error in a 12-team playoff is extremely low, which I appreciate and I understand. And so if you're building your schedule for a 12-team playoff, you need all the wins you can possibly get. That being said, if the playoff expands to 16 and you can afford 2 losses and still be viewed as a really good team and get in, then I could see teams start taking more liberties with their non-con schedule.
100%. And like I'm eyeing, there's 2 open slots right now from now until basically through 2029. 2026 and 2028 each have 1 open slot. My dream is to bring that IU Kentucky rivalry back. I think that would be awesome for the sport, the blue on red, just the cross-state rivalry, just like, you know, the SEC, they play their 8-game schedule, but they do, like, I will give them credit here. They usually do schedule 3 cupcakes, but then they usually have the big rivalries, right? Like they're Florida gets Florida State, Georgia gets Georgia Tech. Kentucky gets Indiana. Why not we start that back up again? Because I don't think Kentucky's doing that with anyone these days. So we can just bring that back. I think that would be awesome for the sport. They used to play each other every year, and that is something that I really want. Like I can give a rat's ass about playing Louisville. I think it's a true basketball rivalry, but Indiana Kentucky is true border state hate, and I think we got to bring that back in football, 100%. Would love to get that done. Like, you know, like basically my dream, like every other year, where you're either playing Kentucky or Notre Dame and compete for national titles. Like that is kind of where I want Indiana to be as a football program.
I full blown agree with you. The other thing that came out today that was not new news, we did get a couple pieces of new news, and I'll get into that in a second. But the Bison was announced as breaking news today for some reason. When we've known Hoosier the Bison is coming back for over a month now, we've had the promos, we've had the official reveal, the on back. Like this is, I have no idea why this was labeled as breaking news. We did finally get though an official like first public appearance date for Hoosier the Bison. That's going to be game 1, that Old Dominion game. So if you wanted another reason to get out to the stadium, like that's going to be the first chance to see Hoosier the Bison out in public. But we also got a student ID from Hoosier the Bison, which people were freaking out and were saying like that's AI made, and if it is, who cares? If it's not, like the artist who made it is probably sitting there like, what the hell is going on? We've seen Hoosier the Bison and Buffalo Wild Wings connect, and there's probably a collab coming in the near future, so that'd be really cool. Just like a lot of positive momentum with Hoosier the Bison, and just I, for the life of me, can't understand why people are so upset of the fact that Indiana has a mascot. Like people are just looking for reasons to be upset. I swear.
Yeah, Buffalo Wild Wings needs to relax a little bit because Bloomington's Buffalo Louis territory. Everyone knows that. So B-Dubs gotta stay away. We're not putting B-Dubs in the stadium. We're keeping it Buffalo Louis, keeping it 100. But yeah, I kind of like the cool online interaction. I think that's pretty harmless stuff. But yeah, glad they announced that he's officially making, because I've been waiting for him to actually be revealed. So to actually know it's happening week 1, I think is a good way to go about it. And we'll see. I saw some sketches that he might turn out to be red instead of brown. Who knows?
I would be a little surprised.
That would be a little wild. I think the brown with the red jersey would be great with the candy stripe pants, kind of what we saw in the video. Still want to see. I just need a face card, and I guess we're not going to get it till OD.
We got it with the student ID.
I guess. Sure.
Yeah, good stuff.
It makes me think that maybe it's not set in stone, like what his face is going to look like.
It could be that they're testing.
Maybe they have like 5 different heads for Hoosier.
I wouldn't be surprised. I want to shout out another Bloomington establishment, Brad. Upstairs Pub retweeted my article or reposted my article. That is From Purgatory to Powerhouse, the rise of Curt Cignetti's Indiana football. If you haven't checked that out, it's live on vocfb.com. Shout out to the Upstairs Pub. Like that's a place I've spent many a time in. It was a lifeline truly during our senior year, Brad, as you know. And so obviously
big fans of the other bars being closed. Upstairs was one of the few ones that was coming through. That was pre-renovation, so we're a little bit old head in terms of upstairs lore.
But yeah,
remember
just voted number one college bar
on the ceiling when we were there, like what, underwear, shit like that. I don't think they have that anymore. Like bras or some shit.
The renovations look beautiful. I think it was just voted like number 1 college bar in the country for 2025. Like, I can tell you,
John, I live in Chicago. I'm Midwest fed, Cali bred, Midwest fed. All right, I'm not from. I mean, I don't live in California anymore. I'm a true Midwesterner. The hat might have been confusing though, but I'm in Coach fall camp mode. But yeah, what were you saying? Sorry, I had to correct John. I can't believe John didn't figure out I'm from Chicago yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say, without a doubt, like I'll be making a stop to the Upstairs Pub next time I'm in Bloomington.
No for sure. We're going to Nick's. We're going upstairs. Might have to skip on. Don't insult me like that, John. Oh my god.
Get him, John. Get him.
Fresno. Jesus. I'm not from the Valley, San Joaquin Valley. No way. No, that's where it's a farm town. I'm not a farmer.
Also, Brad, before we jump back into football, I want to shout out Devin Taylor, drafted in the 2nd round. He is the highest drafted Indiana outfielder ever.
Yeah, a little disappointed. I thought he was like a round 1 lock. Him going 48 was a little, probably had something to do with Indiana's season. He's the all-time home run leader in Indiana history. I think he's going to find his way to the big league still, even though he was drafted a little low. Who ended up getting him? Who landed him?
Oakland, or no, I guess Sacramento. Like where are they now?
No, Vegas. Vegas landed him. So he's gonna be a superstar. Him and Rooker are gonna be bomb kings over there in Vegas in a couple of years.
Yeah, it's a good spot for him. That's a young team.
Definitely a guy to follow and root for if you're an Indiana Hoosier fan. Devin Taylor. He has a lot of power. kind of compare him to kind of a Teoscar Hernandez type player. Maybe not going to be, I mean, he used to be like super athletic, great, fielder, but he's kind of bulked up a little bit to the point where, he's not as nimble as he used to be. And he's more kind of a power hitter. So that's why I kind of bring up the Teoscar Hernandez comp, because that's kind of how his career has kind of gone as time has evolved for him. And just wishing him the best.
Agree.
Yeah. I don't know how they hit. I don't know if they hit the same. I have no idea, but I'm not that type of ball knower when it comes to baseball. But in terms of impact, I could totally see him having a Teoscar Hernandez type career.